Good morning, everyone. I'm calling the Tuesday, February 18 meeting to order. Approval of the minutes for Tuesday, January 21st. I have a motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
I have a second.
I do.
Any discussion? Minutes have been moved and approved. Okay, public comment. Is anybody on Zoom?
Jan's the only one on Zoom.
Anybody in the audience for public comment? No? Okay, let's move to action items. Utility relief. And Tim, we normally have our utility reliefs normally have an approval or a denial, just staff,
Yes, I saw that on the
Yeah, but
one from last
we're
week.
seeing you today.
Testing me today.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
you
you're
see,
right.
there's nothing on it, so.
Okay.
You want to start the discussion?
Well, I did have some questions as I looked at it in that it looked like the dates were wrong. Or is this just an old one that you're running through to test me with?
That's another one. I think that they probably should be 2025.
They're 25.
Okay, see, there you go. You passed the first test.
Okay. And then as I looked through the printout of the expenses, it looked like the water bill didn't go up. Or the sewer bill, like it's been 3690, 3690, 3690. And so I don't know what the request for relief is.
Okay, so now does anybody care to explain what we're doing here?
Well, it's a little too early. The numbers haven't come in for that yet,
Oh, okay.
but the greater point
That's what
is,
February is blank. Yeah, on the chart here. Okay.
it's got zeros, right? But the greater point is that under the current relief requirements, they don't meet the criteria
Oh, they don't.
because this goes into the wastewater system. And we don't give relief to water that enters the wastewater system because it still costs the city money to process that water.
Okay.
Even if it's a leak.
So Jim, if you look all the way at the bottom, then that's one form that you get familiar with. It is the utility relief request. Provides you most of the information, but how we make those decisions.
Okay, so I'm looking at the resolution that was signed by the former mayor and by Bruce. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That's one that the committee put together, a couple of years ago,
Yes.
I think, and voted on that to be the policy that we abide by for leak relief.
Okay,
And also, Jim, it's a toilet fill valve. So it's kind of like an owner piece of equipment that is faulty. So it's kind of like owner problem. Other than like a leak out in a pipe or something that the city might be in charge of.
okay.
So we look at those things too, is it something like one time I had a ghost flushing and I accepted the bill because my fault. I should have had a better valve in the toilet.
Okay, so help me understand this.
But the ownership.
Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
Yeah,
Policy is a little bit easier to absorb more so than the resolution, just because they have to put all the legalese into the resolution.
okay,
But the policy is pretty straightforward. What these guys did was they looked at the ordinance and they made some adjustments in the spirit of water conservation.
Mhm.
And so previously it had stipulations in there about any irrigation and things for people that water their yards. But beyond that, the team just looked at the overall ordinance. So typically what you'll see is people will have a break either in their service line that goes from our meter to their house, or something in their irrigation, or 90% of the time it's a toilet flapper that's stuck.
okay,
Toilet flapper is a maintenance of the homeowner and not responsibility of the city. So that's how you look at that. Where the city gives credit is things that our infrastructure caused, contributed to the leak. And so that's where you get your refunds.
okay. So just as an example, I don't have a sprinkler system at my house outside, but if I did,
Yeah.
and a valve
Broke.
kablooey and leaked,
Mhm.
would that be different than the toilet valve?
It would, but it wouldn't qualify for, they're different leak issues,
Okay,
but neither would qualify for your leak reimbursement. So
Okay.
things that are within the homeowner's control don't typically qualify. I mean, we look at these individually, obviously, but if it's within the homeowner's control, we don't typically give the reimbursement.
Okay.
Unless it's just like a
so
pipe.
even though they had the WaterWise detection system and even though they contacted a plumber,
Yeah.
so there were some,
Great.
or ion water, yeah,
It tells them, you know, right away if they've got a leak somewhere or especially for second homeowners. But a lot of times we'll see pipes underneath someone's home. That's not something they could control. And as long as they respond quickly and
Okay.
have that repaired, then it falls within the policy that the committee set.
okay.
It's kind of like owner maintenance plus, but the ion water, I was very happy because it minimized her bill.
Yes,
By knowing it's leaking, some of these people don't get around here for 60 days.
right.
And so, you know, it would just continue to leak. So it minimized the bill to her.
Yes, and it's not, it looked like she made a good faith effort to get a plumber out there. It took a little while, but
That's exactly right.
like it was over the holidays. but-
And the ion water is and Trevor will cover that later as far as, you know, what percentage we have now, but it's really gone up, but it's free.
Yes.
So it's
So
free
let
to
me,
check.
let me get Doug in here. Hey, Doug. Go
Hi,
ahead. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
I can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Just first a question, and I think you answered it, but you broke up a little. Why was there not a staff recommendation on this one?
Because we didn't have the monthly meter reader yet, the meter read yet.
Okay.
But I just
Okay.
thought it was a great opportunity for training too, so sorry.
It was
So
just
are-
a sample to show our new member.
Yes.
Because the read results haven't come through yet. We read once a month and they haven't come through, so there's no recommendation that could be made without us telling you what the credit would be.
Oh, okay, so they couldn't make the calculation yet.
Correct.
Right,
Okay, so is this, well, this is clearly a denial, so I guess that doesn't really matter.
right.
And I just wanted to say to Jim as a new member, and it took me about, I don't know, a long time to wrap my head around this. Rather than getting too deep into owner negligence or this component or that component, you have to understand that under our policy, an owner never gets credit for the water side of the bill. They never get relief from having to pay the water bill as a result of a leak. It just doesn't happen. The
Okay.
only relief they ever get is from the sewer side of the bill
Right,
when they have a leak, and only then if they can establish that none of that leak went into the sewer system. And like in this case, clearly if it's a toilet, it went into the sewer system, so there's no relief available on either the water side or the sewer side. But if you always keep in mind that even though it's called leak relief and it's implied that you're going to get relief from your water bill, you're not. This just doesn't happen. That's just the city's philosophy. It's very unique, really, than any other jurisdiction I've looked at in Oregon, but it is what it is. And but it makes it easier to analyze these requests.
Thank you, Doug, for your
Yeah.
insight. Yeah, well said. Okay, Jim, there you go. So it was a
Okay.
great opportunity.
So no relief for water, relief only for sewer discharge
If it went through the sewer system.
if it went through.
Correct. So, all right, so do I?
If it didn't go through the sewer system.
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, to deny, I can give a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Sure.
Okay, Jim?
All-
But I think I understand it.
Jumping in, all right. Aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Okay, the motion has been moved and approved. All right. Karen, your turn. Discussion and information items.
Okay, we have a lot going on at Public Works. Our water resiliency status, as I mentioned last month, nothing's really going to happen until late April, early May, when Tappan comes back to pull the line for phase 2. And that's all the HDPE line that's from the springs all the way down to the public works yard. That's going to take several months to get that project completed. But right now with the weather and everything, they won't restart until that spring timeframe. Phase one is complete, as I mentioned, so the seismic valve phase is done and complete. Everything's being turned into Business Oregon to close out that phase. Phase three, they're just almost done with the engineering of the tank. We had some project calls last week on Thursday. We'll have another one this week, and we're getting very close to being able to put that out to bid. So we're excited about that. We're still in the process of FEMA for our 7 million, so they haven't pulled that completely. So we're moving forward as if that could potentially happen for us. And at the same time, we have the Business Oregon application. I'll be going in front of their board here shortly to pitch our project. So may the best funding source win. Whoever gives us the money is what we're going to grab onto. So we're months from knowing if we got it or not, but it's a long process, as you know. So that's the status of water resiliency. Haystack Heights will be opening the bid on February 28th to see what contractor got that project, and that is the one that we are extending the water line from the west side of the highway to the east side to loop Haystack Heights. That's a master plan project, as you remember. So it'll be great to see who won that bid. It's public bid, so lowest bidder is who gets it. Right now, out at the wastewater treatment plant, the guys are going through an extensive basin maintenance for both of our basins that process waste out at the plant. Our plant has always been able to run on one basin. We really haven't had the load. We don't have the population, and we haven't really had the tourist swings that drove two basins, although a second one is always ready and available. If one basin were to fail, we could run the second basin. We may have gotten to the point with our population and tourist visits that we run two basins. So we're gearing up for that, and we're going to anticipate doing that during this summertime. We're seeing trends in our numbers that are telling us that it might be time to run two basins for a period of time, or maybe indefinitely if we can feed it enough to successfully run two basins. So you'll see a lot of activity out there. The guys ordered all the parts, and we hired a maintenance labor crew that came to give them some help to get that done. So if you're walking the trail and you see all this crazy activity, that's what it is. It's going to take them probably a couple weeks to get done with everything. But they're hard at it. So we communicate with DEQ all during this time because we do monthly DMR reports that tell them what our numbers are from a lab perspective on anything that's being released from the plant. So we keep them in tight communication so they know we're doing maintenance. And if they see anything out of skew, they'll know what it's for. And I don't mean out of skew as in we're breaching any numbers that we shouldn't be, but they watch for trends just like we do. And so I'll knock on wood, so far so good. They're pleased to see what we're doing out there and the approach we're taking. We have a third party engineering firm and a wastewater expert that is working with us closely during this whole process. We're going to be doing a workshop to kind of get some methods and procedures in place should we go ahead and run both basins on an extended period of time. So the guys are super busy right now out at wastewater. Some of our other teams are giving them some support by doing the daily reads and things like that, just because their hands are so full and there's only 3 of them. So
May I ask you a question? Just
Sure.
as the new guy, what does the maintenance entail? Is it like dredging up the silt that's at the bottom of the basins or?
That and the sleeves that go to each one of the rods that run through the basin, and Trevor can speak to it much more eloquently than I can. I'm hoping that once we tour you on the water plant, we'll take you to wastewater
Okay,
and we'll be able to show you.
okay.
Wastewater is a very complex,
I can only imagine. Yeah, okay,
but you'll get to see that firsthand
okay,
when we go out. It'll make a lot of sense to you at that point.
okay.
And then Trevor can kind of go through what they were doing at the time your eyes are on it and it'll make sense to you.
Okay.
Let's see, wastewater. We are supporting, Rusty on and Bruce on the City Hall PD project from an infrastructure, perspective. So they're going to be preparing the 2 lots where, the temporary staff trailers are going to be out near Recycle. So there'll be some activity, some fencing, and they'll get ready to bring the trailers out and whatnot. Right now, what we're focusing on is just getting power to that location because there's not power that they can draw from at this point. So that's going to be an extensive amount of work getting that done. We're waiting for Pacific Power to confirm they're going to pull that line for us. And they're going to do boring or directional drilling. So we're not going to cut that street open. So hopefully that will be open during that duration for people to get to Recycle. See any other projects? I'm forgetting. We have so many things going on right now. It's crazy, but
Priority interrupts too.
good.
They happen all the time.
Let's see, Andrew at Recycle announced his retirement after many years with the city. So we have a job posting out there. We've received a couple of applications already. I'll do a first review and some first round of interviews sometime after the 19th, when I've had a chance to review the applications and then call the potential candidates to interview. Andrew's target date is April 1st, no joke. We hope to have the new person on about a month before to be able to do a transition. And so I'll keep you posted on that. See, I think that is about it. As far as active projects going on. Coffee with the Counselor is going to be next Monday, the 24th. There'll be a lot of interesting discussion at that meeting. So if you guys don't dial into it or attend, it'd probably be a good one to dial into.
Is it held here?
It's held here.
Okay.
And 2 of the counselors host it. There's no decision making, obviously, with 2 counselors are not speaking for the whole Council Diaz, but there's a lot of good things that come up from the community in those. It's a more informal meeting format. So.
Karen, on the last council meeting, it was asked about the restaurants across the street. We are still on target, right?
We have an extensive punch list with that contractor. Not major things, but things that just weren't up to snuff. And so we are not taking the fencing down, so the people are not confused that the bathrooms are open when they're not, until they address everything that's on the punch list. Our original goal was to have that open by Easter break. It's going to be close. So, but we want it done right.
Right.
And so just a lot of quality issues more than anything else. The overall bathroom, the job looks good. But there's some things that have to be addressed. And so we were waiting on the soap dispensers. Those just arrived last week. So we're getting there. We're getting close. Right now, we don't have the big crowd, so it hasn't been a real issue, and we're on par for what our original goal was. But they were way ahead of a schedule originally. And then waiting for the stainless steel fixtures really held things up. But still ahead of schedule from what we originally said, but it's going to be close.
Yes, has any questions for Karen or Trevor?
The only other, well, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, a contractor that works with Pacific Power was up by my house and then identified there are gonna be some trimming, some trees where the power lines are coming in, where if we do get a big storm, that it won't
Touch the line.
touch the lines. So if that's, is that an annual event, Trevor, or is that something that just happens occasionally?
They don't come annually, it just as they do a review each year.
I see.
There's not always the need to do trimming.
I think it's good. I'm very good,
Yeah.
proactive.
They're in the process of it now. They're just at the S curves. Yesterday, they were coming up from the south end, going north on the east side of Hemlock.
Okay.
And so they'll make their way through town. They had gone other side, the west side of Hemlock and down. And so it'll be probably the rest of this week, maybe first part of next week before they're completely done.
Very good.
They made a presentation at one of the city council meetings
Right.
months ago or so. This year, they're especially concerned about it, or their focus is
Okay.
more on Cannon Beach and this year than they have been in the past years. I think every few years, they put emphasis on certain areas.
Good thing.
And so we're getting the emphasis this year.
The last power outage we had, the reason that it took so long to get back on is because of all the trees that were impacted
Yeah.
here in town. And so that drove a lot.
21 hours. That's longer than I've
Yeah.
ever been.
Asplund is the contractor's name that does it.
Yes.
And the guy that oversees it and does the cutting is a certified arborist. And so they're not just hacking, they take an arborist point of view when they're cutting, so it's
Very
good.
good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions on projects or anything public works related that's going on?
Any questions? Doug, any questions? No, you're good?
No questions on Public Works.
Thank
Good,
you.
very good.
We're in the middle of budget. Forgot to tell you that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's,
I've handed in my draft budget and I meet with Bruce sometime next week. And so I'll see if he takes his red pen and
Yeah. I was-
I've tried to hide them all from him.
All right, anything for good of the order?
This is Doug, and this is just kind of a humorous thing. New guy, your name is Jim, right?
Yes, in fact, Doug, I live across the street from you.
I finally put that together, and when I get down there, I'll see you. That took me a while.
Yeah. It took me, Steve had to explain to me, yeah. So
Right,
we've met and chatted before.
right. And I also want to let you know that I was mostly kidding about that being my chair to your left, and it looks like you vacated it this
I-
week. So,
In your honor, sir.
that's
Okay. Okay, and then I just want to let the committee know that I'll be getting back home just about the time of the next meeting, so I'll have to zoom in one more time, and then I'm going to make an effort to be there in person in April, May, and June, which subject to final verification would be my last meeting. So that's the plan going forward.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you, Doug. All right, we have a Red Cross blood drive, March 10th at the Chambers, so please make your appointments, donate blood if you need it. And that's all I have.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everyone.
So moved.
Thank you.
So moved. Yeah, thank you.